This is it. This is the last bastion, if you will, of where we've got some warm air and unstable air. So I would say at this point, the worst of the weather for this evening will continue from about Brookhaven to McGee, Mize, and southward. And that's what we'll be tracking here with the squall line as it moves eastward. I want to alert you, if you're in Pike County, this tornado threat is basically between mile markers 5 and 19, between 5 and 19 on Interstate 55. This is a map showing you the areas that currently have a tornado watch in effect. I'll go over the counties for you here. We've got Smith. We've also got Simpson, Jefferson, Davis, Lincoln, Lawrence, Franklin, Amite, Wilkinson, Pike, and Walthall counties. A tornado watch is in effect until 2 o'clock in the morning. I will tell you this, if I just mentioned your county, you will not be under a tornado watch until 2 o'clock in the morning. This literally has about another hour, 2 hours tops to this weather event before it's over with. Severe thunderstorm warning right now for Lawrence County, for Lincoln County, for Pike County, and for Amite counties. The storm has gone through Natchez. You're now just looking at rain there after getting some very rough weather a short time ago, but I want to put you on alert if you're in Jefferson Davis County, extreme southern Simpson County, and Walthall County. Eventually, this squall line will be affecting your area too, with damaging wind and hail. The rest of the region, if I'm not talking about you, that's good news, because that means you're not looking at any kind of weather like this, but it will be windy and rainy for Metro Jackson and the rest of our area for the next several hours, probably till about midnight or a little bit thereafter. Back to the tornado warning we go. Let's zoom into Pike County now. It's already rainy there in advance of this storm. Highway mile markers 5 through 19. That includes McComb. It also includes the community of Magnolia. Right there in the middle of your screen, you are in this tornado warning as well, as the storm is advancing at about 30 miles per hour. Little bit of some east or a little bit south of east movement to it at this point. Can we go to the, I was going to say, let's go to the wind scan just to get a better idea as to where this couplet may be located. And it's kind of messy here, which has been really the kind of style of the storm system, if you will, that we've been tracking for you much of this afternoon and this evening. So if it were to be in here, it's west of McComb at this point, but moving in nonetheless. We do expect it to be in the McComb area within about 15 or 20 minutes. We do have, of course, our First Alert Skycam network up and running this evening where we can see the storms, albeit it is nighttime. And we'll go to McComb right now and show you what it looks like from that area as we're looking off to the west. This is the view currently, and we're just sitting here looking at the storm. At least maybe you can tell us if there's a decent amount of lightning. Yeah, there's a little lightning in the distance, but one thing I've noticed, there hasn't been a lot of lightning with the storms today at all. That's something that I've been at least picking up on. So that's really the story there. But we have, just looking here, severe thunderstorm warning continues for the Brookhaven, Wesson, and Monticello areas, and that goes until 8:15. That squall line is moving very quickly across Lincoln County right now, and this storm is a little bit slower, the one that's coming out of Amite County and currently headed into the Pike County area. There's our lightning tracker. It's not very impressive. I mean, it does show you where the most intense storms are right now, but this is really not something we see that we would see with a tornado outbreak per se. And we're getting a little lightning even up by the metro, but this is a very little amount, and that's some lightning on the backside of the storm system in Natchez as well. The weather will not be any worse in Natchez. You're just going to get rain and wind for the rest of this evening. The worst of it has already moved on through, but right now we're seeing the front side of this squall line moving across our southernmost counties. We can thank the cooler air that came in from the north from the storms that were upstream in Arkansas today from preventing the severe weather threat from getting any further north than what you're seeing here. What I said on TV earlier, and I think I said it also in our briefing tonight that we were doing online for everybody, is that if you have the highways of 84 or 98 going through your counties, okay, you are under the risk for severe weather tonight. So we are not surprised to have a tornado warning right now for this storm that is coming out of Amite County and going into Pike counties. We are concerned, of course, as it continues to move east. Is it going to tap into more moist, warm, and unstable air, say around Walthall County, Lawrence County? Something we're paying attention to. But right now, this is a fierce storm that is sitting over downtown Brookhaven, over through the Bogachita area, and it's continuing to move eastward towards Monticello. Eventually, it will be near Prentice, too, probably within the hour. Elise?
Yeah, so this tornado warning right now goes until 8:15. Not very impressive to look at as far as any kind of rotation is concerned, which is good news, but still dealing with the potential for damaging wind gusts. And that includes damaging wind gusts, that is, anyone that's in a severe thunderstorm warning. So Brookhaven, Monticello, Bogachita, Wesson, even in Lucian and Center Point right now, you're getting kind of the worst of the weather. You're going to get some lighter rain here shortly. I will tell you some places that are in the clear, even though you may still be in a tornado watch, where you're not expected to see any more weather. Is going to be in Wilkinson, Adams counties, and as you head further to the north, Port Gibson, Fayette, Franklin County, you're going to be in the clear, even though you are still technically in a tornado watch right now. So those places, this front end, and again, the leading edge is where we're going to see the worst of these storms, which is happening right now in Brookhaven, right now in Bogachita, here in the next few minutes in McComb and in Mixon. So that's where you're going to see the worst of the weather. And even though you may stay in a warning after that point or in a watch, you're going to be done with the severe threat. So it's really just going to be a few more minutes, and I'm going to track out the actual squall line for you. Let me double check on how fast these storms are moving. The severe thunderstorm warnings also go until 8:15. The actual severe thunderstorms are moving a little quicker at 45 miles per hour. And those will get to you in, give me just a moment, the next few minutes. But again, you're already dealing with the worst of that weather in Brookhaven, but a first alert for you in Monticello. You'll likely see that by 8:12, in Silver Creek by 8:17, Prentice nearly 8:30, and in Columbia at 8:43. Of course, at that point, it'll be out of central Mississippi off into East Mississippi. We won't be dealing with that threat any longer, but that just goes to show you how quickly we'll be done with the severe weather threat here in the next 30 to potentially 45 minutes. But we do still have 30 minutes left on this tornado warning that we're tracking. They're saying
seeing that they're now saying about that severe thunderstorm warning for the rest of the county, right? Tornado tag on that?
Yes. And they're saying there's a lot of clutter, but if a tornado develops, it'll be approaching Summit within the next 10 minutes. So there's your first alert on, even though we don't have a good view, where we could potentially see some rotation. And yes, this severe thunderstorm warning does have a tornado possible tag on it for that bottom part. Unfortunately, what's happening right here is that you're getting into clutter because you're very far away from both nearby radars. So it doesn't allow us to get a good ground view of what's going on. They have already trimmed this, though. Let me take the clutter away for you. They've already trimmed a lot of people out of the tornado warning itself. So East Fork, Brookside, Huron, you're now in the clear. Thompson, you're no longer under a tornado warning, but you are still in a severe thunderstorm warning. Still going to be dealing with some heavy rain and some gusty wind.
Let's zoom in on that tornado warning for just 1 second, the way you have it on the screen. I just want to show some streets for folks and let people that are in the McComb area. Delaware Ave, obviously a very busy road in McComb. We've got old Highway 24 here. We've got US 51, Interstate 55. We're talking about mile markers between 5 and 19. So you've got Wardlaw Road, you've got Enterprise Road here. So we definitely have some weather that's going to be moving in. This is downtown McComb here, away from 98. And this is the area that we're going to be watching, of course, as the storm is going to be moving across this area, regardless of whether it's tornadic at that point or not. The Percy Quinn Res is right there to the southwest, to the lower left portion of your screen. And so that's also included in the warning. We'll go further south just to pull up some more roads for people that are also possibly involved here. This is the community of Fernwood, as I mentioned at the top of our broadcast. You are also under the tornado warning. A little bit further south we go, and you can see that we're getting more into the Magnolia area, which is right here on US 51. Again, the interstate just west of Magnolia there, and you're under this tornado warning as well. And then we get a little bit further south. We get close to about mile marker 5. We're north of Osika at that point, but we're just to the north of Osika here. And this is the area that we're watching. Hampley Road, also Church Road. These areas are included in the tornado warning. Tornado warning goes for about another 22 minutes until 8:15. And again, we have had no ground truth reports so far, so nobody on the ground reporting an actual tornado, but the radar is indicating the conditions are conducive for a tornado in this area. A severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for just about all of Pike County, which surrounds where the tornado warning box is. And it's also noted that a brief tornado could pop up in that severe thunderstorm warning as well. So while you're under the biggest risk now from the south side of Summit over through McComb, through Magnolia, and that includes the Fernwood area, there is the potential even around it as the squall line kind of sweeps in from the north and west that you're going to be looking at a possible tornado as well. We have a tornado watch that is currently in effect for our southernmost counties. You can see here, this is the area that is being impacted. Right now, it looks like it's the McComb and Brookhaven areas. I'm not sure about this. Did they remove Adams County, Elise, or did they never add it in the first place? I can't remember how it looked.
It was never in there in
Okay.
the first place, just because the line had pretty much gotten through Adams County when they finally issued the tornado watch.
Yeah, so it's got this northeast southwest alignment, and the further you get into Simpson and into Smith counties, you're probably not going to be seeing much of this tornadic weather because the cooler air has really reached a good swath now of central Mississippi. Natchez, you're already behind the system, so you're not going to be worried about you don't have to worry about any additional severe weather tonight, except for the fact you're going to have a lot of wind and rain. So we have a new tornado warning now going into effect, for southern Lincoln and southern Lawrence County. This has to do with that squall line. This seems eerily familiar, Elise, to just the other day, does it not?
It was just the same.
Looks very much the same. Tornado warning. I'm just getting the information here on my screen. A tornado warning will go until 9 p.m. Until 9 p.m. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near the community of Summit, just north of McComb. This is moving east at 45 miles per hour. So this line is getting active, and I think this is the cell right here. On the bottom of your screen, right there, just east of Summit, you could see a little kink, and yeah, there's something going on right in there. Okay, I know it's a little bit dirty, if you will, but there's just something right there that is indicated on radar, and this is moving eastward along Highway 570. So if you're in southern Lawrence now and southern Lincoln County, you have a tornado warning in effect. This is going to go until 9 p.m. Radar is indicating rotation in this area. So if you're in a mobile home, or really anywhere in the path of the storm, at this point, start executing your safety plan. Get to the lowest floor of your home, away from windows, protect yourself from flying debris. So this is a very serious situation now. In extreme southern Lincoln, southern Lawrence counties, we have a tornado warning until 9 o'clock. That includes Brister Store. Yeah, we're back at this again, aren't we? Highway 583. We're looking at that area. This is just on the south side of Bogue Chitto. The actual storm is here. The storm is close to, Mississippi, Southwest Mississippi Community College. That's where the actual cell is located here in the northern part of Pike County, and it's moving eastward, and it's going to wobble a little bit. They don't necessarily move in a straight line, and that's why the extreme southern part of Lawrence and Lincoln counties are currently under this tornado warning. Then, of course, McComb is under a tornado warning as well. So it's a rapidly developing situation that we have for you right now, folks. And this line of storms is very intense. Just getting reports too, wind is really picking up in McComb as the storm is moving in. Can we go back to our tower cam, our First Alert Skycam network? I just want to see what's doing in McComb. Okay, we're going to MDOT first. Show me what we've got on MDOT. Oh, nope, there's our First Alert Skycam network. You can see the rain is coming down pretty hard currently in McComb. There we go. This is MDOT, and this is 570, just east of I-55. This is pretty close to where that tornadic cell is, but you can see the sheets of rain moving across the area right now. We are in Pike County, camera bouncing around a little bit, but people are still on the road. We do have a tornado warning in effect. Tornado warning continues. Now a new tornado warning going into effect. We have a new tornado warning going into effect. This is going to include the northern half of Pike County, the northern half of Walthall County. Okay, folks, so now we have a tornado warning that encompasses several counties in our area. This will also go until 9 o'clock this evening. This does include Tylertown, right to about the downtown area, Sartonville, Enon. You're included in this, over back through McComb. A tornado warning now in effect until 9 o'clock this evening. The tornado is, again, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, and this is a line extending from Summit to McComb. So this is what's happening. This is the problem area right here. And as I mentioned, it's very close to where the Southwest Community College is located, which is just east of Summit. It's really in Summit, but it's just east of downtown Summit. It's northeast of McComb, and it is this particular area that's causing the issue. And that's why the tornado warning has been extended eastward. So what we're doing right now is we're actually mirroring. That's why you see the little squiggly line. We're kind of mirroring the actual squall line. And this just shows you around Holmesville, 8:09 p.m. Dinan, 8:18 p.m. Carmike, 8:26. Expose, 8:36. And eventually into Columbia by 8:41. This is moving at about 45 miles per hour. It's a pretty good clip. So let's hope it keeps moving like that, because that way we get it out of here just that quick. But if it's moving at that speed, it's also indicating to me that there's probably some damaging wind coming out of this storm that we have to really account for. And you can see how bad it is right now in Brookhaven and stretching on down to Summit. And this storm continues to move eastward right now. So a tornado warning in effect. It does not include Monticello, but you do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for damaging wind and hail. So don't let your guard down. And if you're in southern Pike County, don't let your guard down either, because you have this severe thunderstorm warning and the potential of a tornado as well. So right now, this is the area that we're focused on. This box will drop out very soon in about 15 minutes or less. But the new box that will take over still includes the city of McComb and Summit and Tylertown and Sartonville and Enon and Dinan, and also includes Bristol Store and JS. Okay, you're included in this tornado warning. Also, Darbin, I don't want to forget you either. Let's look at what's going on here. This is Bristol Store, Holmesville Road. We've got Topeka JS Road, which is really Topeka and JS in this area. And there's Topeka right there on the screen. And you're under this tornado warning. This is going to go all the way over to the Tilton area. And then over to about Oakville. So this is the area that's going to be impacted here. Sartonville Road. Okay, you're getting the rain right now. But if you're in this area, very important. All right, take cover. Now, I will tell you something. What I saw was interesting, and I don't know if you saw this, Elise, but in the tornado warning, they said a severe thunderstorm capable of producing catastrophic wind, right? Didn't it say that? Mm-hmm. Catastrophic wind or a tornado. So the wind is literally going to be, could be as strong as a tornado is what I'm trying to tell you. Even if it's not a tornado, the wind produced by this line of thunderstorms could be so extreme and intense that it could produce similar winds. So that's the story right now. And we're staying on the air with you. I do want to also let you know, if you've got friends or family in this area, give them a phone call, text them, just make sure they're paying attention to the weather, okay? So they're not distracted doing something else, because this is a very serious storm. And it is looking very impressive now on radar. Okay, this is definitely a standout, at least, wouldn't you say?
I would say, yeah. Even if this wind is not necessarily reaching the ground, and I'm going to get all of this off so we can actually get a check of the wind speeds. But even if this is not reaching the ground, winds potentially as high as 70 to 80 miles per hour with this storm. So even if they are straight line winds, that's still going to cause significant damage. It will bring trees down. It could bring power lines down. So please make sure that you're staying indoors. You're staying in your safe place, because a lot of you are not dealing with even the rain just yet. So you may not be seeing anything going on, but I don't want you to go out on the porch. I don't want you to go look for it, because it's going to be there shortly and potentially cause some significant damage. So we do have multiple tornado warnings on the board here. This one, that the initial one that included McComb, that goes for 13 more minutes, there's not really much going on there, but that does still include Magnolia. You're really in the heavy rain and you're behind the initial onset of wind. So I would say in those places, many of you are going to be okay at this point. But what we're really going to be tracking is this leading edge that's now just about to cross into the Ruth area along Highway 583, going down Highway 570. As you head further into Pike County, we're going to be looking at River Road and Cowork Price Road, the Enon community, Dinan as you go into Walthall County, and of course Tylertown. You're included in this. Well, you're actually not technically. The northern part of Tylertown is included in the tornado warning, but the worst of the weather is going to pass, it looks, to the north of you in Tylertown. But keep in mind too that we do have severe thunderstorm warnings for very similar looking winds as you go further to the north. And
this is something else. I mean, that's an impressive.
Monticello.
Look at that cell. We don't see that too often, Elise.
Yeah.
Right there, just west of Bristol Store. So that's already into southern Lincoln County now. And that's going to be crossing. This is the Lawrence County border. So to give you a little bit of perspective here, this is the Lawrence County border. What are you looking at? All right, let me explain. The winds, when you look at radar, they do two things. There's inflow and outflow. And when they contrast like this, and they're contrasting pretty hard because you go from yellow to red to green. You've got winds that are going like this. That's what's happening. And so it's slicing through the storm. And normally, the other day, what did we see? We saw some green, we saw some red. We did see a couplet, right? But this is a definitive couplet here. I mean, this is a pretty intense cell. And regardless, even if this were not to be a tornado, you're still going to have damaging wind here. And this storm looks fierce around Fair River. What I don't like about what's happening here on this part of the squall line is the squall line has now pretty much consolidated into Lincoln County and extreme northern Pike County. And I'm seeing these little spinnies. See, there's one, there's another one, and there's another one up here, and they're just cropping out, if you will, in front of this. You could see it point a little bit there and another one there. And it shows up on the radar too, especially right here. Look at that. On the northern edge of the tornado warning. They just redrew it, just brought it back a little bit. If you're in the Blueberry Hill area, Bogue Chitto, you're clear from the tornado, but not the rough weather that's going on. But we have an impressive cell right now that's crossing into Lawrence County, just about. It's very close to Brister's store. So please take cover, take this seriously. When we see something like that, that's not something we see all the time. So Elise was just measuring, you have 83 mile per hour winds on that thing.
Yes.
So that's an impressive, and we're still tracking it there. This is, really one cell. This is the one that came out of the summit area, and it didn't look as impressive as it does right now. So we're continuing to watch this 86 mile per hour winds, and, we'll go a little closer in. This is crossing Highway 583 right now, about to cross Malouse Road in the extreme eastern part of Lincoln County. And we're looking at it from another scan there. And what you're going to see is you're going to see this pulse up and pulse down. Do you want to try to take a look at debris tracker when you get a chance, see if it does anything? Yep. Or I know I'm throwing a lot of things at you, and we've got a little bit of a spike there. You can't really see much. Yeah,
it's just right along the actual squall line, it looks like, where we're just seeing it essentially is going to be cluttered because there's so much wind and heavy rain happening right there. So even though there could be a tornado as well, lofting things into the air, you've also got wind just blowing. And we do have, dead trees. We have leaves and all sorts of things that could be blowing around at this point.
I mean, those winds are strong regardless. You just showed 80, almost 90 mile per hour winds. So, that's going to get you some issues anyway. I just saw fantastic lightning display over downtown Jackson. So now we're starting to see some lightning, but we're not looking at any kind of severe weather threat in Jackson, except for just some wind and some rain. This is the way it looks right now on the big screen. We've got a lot of lightning with this squall line that's moving through. The squall line is probably more elevated when you get into the Jackson metro area. What do I mean by that? Well, the cooler air sinks. So the cold air is already undercut much of any kind of severe threat in Jackson, but you're still going to see lightning because when you go further up in the sky, it's pretty rough. That's not the case here in Lincoln County. This thing's at the surface and at the ground and in the air. So you're looking at a much more tumultuous storm. And we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for all of Lawrence County right now. Even if you're not in this tornado warning, still all of Lawrence County. And we have this thunderstorm cell that is rapidly moving eastward at about 45 miles per hour near Brister's store. And we've got tornadic conditions that spread into Walthall County as well. So just keep looking at the chat there, at least see if they say anything more about this. But so far, we have not gotten any reports of damage. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that because, again, we just spotted that big area over southeastern Lincoln County just a few minutes ago. That really shows the twisting in the atmosphere of the wind, and hopefully this squall line just overpowers it and kicks it out of here or just weakens it. But you got to pay attention when you see something like that. This is the area that we're focused on right now. Monticello down through Tylertown. That includes areas along Highway 35. So if you're in northern parts of Walthall County, if you're in the southern part of Lawrence County, and I'm talking to you in JS and Enon and Darbin and Salem, those communities, this is where you need to be very careful with this particular storm that is moving through. Get to your safe space, get away from windows, cover yourself to protect yourself from flying debris. I say it ad nauseum because it's really important in these situations, especially nighttime tornadoes. They're always problematic because we don't have a lot of spotters that see anything until usually it's right up on them. So we want you to be especially careful. Highway 27 in this area is what I meant to say. I said 35, but 27 is the highway right in this area that if you live anywhere along it, you need to pay very close attention to the weather here over the next few minutes. That squall line is continuing to move east. And you've got these little nodes here, these little outcroppings that I'm continuing to watch as well. Can we go back to wind scan real quick? I just want to see what that, it's still an embedded cell there, but it does look like to me that maybe the squall line's overtaking them. I'm hoping.
Yeah. Now keep in mind that those winds are still going to bring trees and power lines down. We're already getting a lot of reports of power outages. Right now, we have 21,600 customers without power. So that can be households. That number is likely larger than that. And the National Weather Service is saying that they've got they're also watching that second potential circulation near Ruth, where there could be a tornado. That's one that we were looking at with you just a little bit ago, but they're seeing a lot of power outages in Lincoln County, and the highest concentration between the Auburn community and I-55 north of the Amite and Pike County line. So I say that to tell you that some of your friends or family may not have power right now. They may not be able to turn the TV on and see what's going on and see where things are. So if you're watching and you're further to the north and you don't have a lot happening, maybe give them a call and give them an update so that they are aware of everything that's going on. But this is the rotation that they're talking about right between Ruth and Brister Store, where we're seeing really dangerous winds. Now, that may not be making it all the way to the ground, but it does appear that there is rotation happening there, even though we can't get a really clear view of the debris tracker, unfortunately, because we've still got so much wind. But you can really see how these winds are turning, how they're interacting here.
I mean, that cell just stands out right there. It's pushing eastward. It's going to go right over Brister Store, go over Holmesville Road, and that's what we're concerned about. I also want to mention, Elise, just to tag on to what you were saying, you mentioned about the fact that people are without power. So the number you mentioned was 20,000 customers. That's doubled in the last hour, just about. So we've seen that number go up. If you have friends in this area and they're losing power from the storm, and I will tell you, power outages are likely from a thunderstorm squall or a squall line like this, all right? Remind them, when we have a tornado warning, we're on the air through our free First Alert weather app, through the WLBT News app, and you can also go to WLBT.com. So you're not, just because you're without power, you're not without communication with us, and you can still stay up to date with the latest weather information. But this is a powerful storm cell that is right now crossing the border between Lincoln and Lawrence County. It's moving into Lawrence County. And if you're in southern Lawrence County, very important at this point, don't play games with this. All right, this is standing out here. I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to instill fear in you. I'm here to just tell you fact, what we're showing you. And, you know, we pop on TV all the time, Elise and I, showing you these storms. And this is a powerful storm cell. And this is a powerful squall line that is moving west to east. So even if you don't get a tornado, you're going to be looking at some damaging winds out of the squall line. So it's best you just kind of lay low and go to an interior room in the house. Maybe you've got a bathtub you can hang out in for a few minutes. This thing's moving so quickly, it's not going to inconvenience you for a long period of time, okay? You're not going to be there all night. You're going to be there for about another 15 or 20 minutes. I know we have the tornado warning going till 9 p.m. I do feel that that tornado warning will cancel before 9 p.m. because this storm is moving so quickly. A new, just to not scare you there, but a new tornado warning going into effect for the Hammond area.
And I'm reading this from this is from the National Weather Service in New Orleans, and they issue warnings for you in Pike and Walthall County. So just so you know, we have two National Weather Service offices that meet up right there. That's why they didn't come out at the same time, and sometimes things are a little bit delayed, but they're saying that there's reports of damage near Thompson Road and Highway 570 in northeast Amite County, possibly from a tornado from that warning that's been ongoing that we've been telling you about. So just a little FYI for you there. And of course, we've got potential for damaging wind gusts and even outside of that. And this is really picked up.
Yeah. I'm seeing it looks like the wind's really picked up in this area. We're seeing a lot of wind blowing out from this storm. You're noticing it if you are anywhere along Highway 27 right now in Lawrence County, or you're in Walthall County. So please be aware that this is a thunderstorm that can produce similar winds or similar damage from winds that are associated normally with a tornado, and you may not actually be seeing a tornado at this moment. The rest of Lawrence County is also under a severe thunderstorm warning. We have a view from our First Alert Skycam network want to show you what it looks like from Monticello now, because the storm is just about to move into Monticello. We're getting quite a bit of lightning. This is the view out there right now. Jeffrey, I don't know if you can tell what direction we're looking at, but
I pointed this camera south. I was trying to get a view since the worst of it is coming south of Monticello. So you're looking south from that Market Max.
Thank you. I didn't know who touched it first. So there you go. I appreciate that, Elise. And yeah, quite a bit of lightning picking up with the storm. There hasn't been a lot of lightning with these storms, but if that's normal what you see, we actually see it's very, it's been documented that when you have tornadoes developing, that you see a very dramatic increase in lightning too. And it's something that I continue to research. But there's quite a bit of lightning now. All right, this looks different than what we showed a few minutes ago.
Yeah, very different.
So things are really ramping up in eastern Lincoln and now western Lawrence County. And I'll tell you, this lightning is going much further north now, towards Hazelhurst and towards the southwestern part of Simpson County. So I wouldn't be surprised if they keep extending the warnings eastward into the southern part of Simpson and the southern part of Smith, but that would be severe thunderstorm warnings. But this is just concerning when you see that solid red that continues to move eastward right now, and we are about to get to Highway 27. We're almost there with the storm. The northern part of Lawrence County, Highway 27 is moving in. We currently do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, and we also are looking right now at the potential of a tornado. That threat is included in there in this particular warning that goes until 9:30 p.m. So it's a very active evening out there, folks, to say the least. I do have a little good news to share with you. They just dropped the tornado watch for parts of southwest Mississippi. We'll show that to you in a moment. But first, let's plot the squall line out here. 8:18, that's 4 minutes, make it 3 minutes for Monticello. Prentice, 8:35. It will be in Mount Olive, 8:45, Bassfield, 8:49, Collins, 8:58, and so about 9:15 as it enters your area. But this is a very powerful squall line. We don't see these too often, and certainly it's out there right now this evening, moving from west to east at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. This is the squall line that's been moving across Texas. We showed you that last night and earlier today, and then in Louisiana this afternoon. And now it is moving across the Highway 84 and 98 corridor, which really could not tap into the cooler, stable air that we're seeing over Metro Jackson right now. I want to show winds again. There's that cell. You can make it out. This is the actual tornadic cell. Maybe you just lift it a little bit further north. These scans are going to change a lot, but that kind of just stands out. Don't you think right there in the border, Elise? So maybe you could zap it with the winds, just kind of see what we're getting. But it doesn't mean that the winds are necessarily reaching the ground at those speeds. But here's what you're going to see in this kind of squall line. You've got updrafts that lead into it, and then the downdrafts that are going to be coming in on the backside of the storm. And so we're seeing right now, we've got a 78 mile, 74 mile per hour wind gust near Monticello. That's certainly going to be able to, that's it right there. 121 mile per hour winds detected on the radar. I think you zapped the exact center of it there, Elise.
Yeah, I think so too. I was looking for it. It looks like it's shifted a little bit further to the south because it was right over Brister's store, but potentially, well, I've got this going back too far.
That's
now,
right.
But yeah, it looks like it's taking a little bit of a trek to the south and the east. So a first alert for you. That's going to be in northern Walthall County, where we're going to be seeing the worst of that
Sartonville Road
right now. Potentially kind of scraping just north of Darbin, unless it shifts further to the south, in which case it could be going straight towards Darbin. And Eden, you're in the worst of that right now as well. I'm going to take another look here.
Yeah,
so
wow, we're getting very strong winds out of this thing.
Really high.
Yeah.
And that's not surprising. Now, this is very far away from the radar. That does not necessarily mean that that is what you're seeing at the ground, but it's still a very strong storm regardless. So it is going to be causing some damage. Let's
go closer in and just stay right in front of where this storm is. I just want to give folks some roads. So Sartonville's right in front of it. This is headed for Sartonville. It's going to be very close. Now, these wobble. They don't go in a straight line. Okay, so you're going to see some wobbling in the track with this potential tornado. Regardless, there's damaging winds there. This is Enon, Sartonville Road. This is going to go into the community of Sartonville, Highway 27. Then you've got Dan Holmes Road. And so if you're anywhere in the northern part of Walthall County, okay, or the southern part of Lawrence County, JS, I'm talking to you. All right, this is very close to home right now. So I just want to show this. Go a little bit further north. We're going to go by Price Road here. This is Price Road. We're now in southern Lawrence County and just getting out in front of it to let some folks know. And then we're getting a little bit further out of the tornado zone, if you will. But very damaging winds currently over Topeka, indicated by Doppler radar at least, and moving eastward very quickly. It just passed Enon and now Sartonville. You are next with this storm, but this stands out here, this particular zone, because we've got the inbound and the outbound winds. That's where you get your couplet, if you will, the little twist in the atmosphere. That's Highway 44 and Highway 583. So this just give you a little perspective on what we're looking at here. Tornado warning in effect until 9 p.m. for this area. The tornado warning that was in effect for McComb is now canceled, and it's also canceled for Summit as well as Magnolia. You're in the clear from tornadic weather, but you're still going to have wind and rain. And the severe thunderstorm warning that was in effect for the Brookhaven area as well as Bogue Chitto, that has canceled out as well. So right now we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for all of Jefferson Davis County. That's the new development here. That's a new severe thunderstorm warning. They did not extend it further north into Simpson or into Smith counties right now. We will monitor that for you, but severe thunderstorm capable of producing damaging wind and hail from this storm. Haven't had a lot of reports of hail today. There's been some pea-size hail. I've checked around. There's been some pea-size hail, but beyond that, haven't seen an awful lot of that. So right now, the core of this weather is really straddling the Lawrence, Lawrence and Walthall County border. That's where the tornadic cell is, but the squall line is still going to be very active here across much of Lawrence County, and will eventually move into Jefferson Davis County as well. So be on guard around Prentice and Bassfield. The weather's going to get bad here for you in the next 30 to 45 minutes. Can we go back to Monticello? I just want to get a latest scan there, because we're getting closer now to this storm. The storm's getting closer to Monticello nonetheless. And you could see that we were measuring some pretty intense winds near Monticello a little while ago, and the heavy rain is moving in as well. This is downtown Monticello. We've got a first alert sky cam there. Maybe we can pull that up and show folks if it's working and available to us, just to show how close the storm is getting. But you could see 80-mile-per-hour winds for sure. This is McComb, and the storm has passed McComb, so that's the good news. The storm has exited out of the area. But if we can show the Monticello, there we go. And you can see, whoa, we're dealing with a lot of wind-driven rain and a lot of lightning that's moving in currently. So you can see this. This is a live view from the Market Max cam. Monticello is not under a tornado warning right now. Severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Lawrence County, the whole county, and Jefferson Davis County for that matter as well. A tornado is possible with this.
We've got a new tornado warning.
Okay.
Now as well for Jefferson, Davis, Lawrence, and Marion, which is going to be just an extension of the ones that we've been tracking.
Right. It's the same
but
thing.
That does include Prentice, that includes Bassfield, that includes Oakvale, which you were in the original warning as well. And then further to the south outside of our area, but Columbia, Mississippi, and the Carmike areas.
So Society Hill, Prentice, Bassfield, you are now and Carson, you are now under a tornado warning. The tornado warning is going to be just east of Monticello as well. So the eastern and southern sections of Lawrence County now under a tornado warning. 2/3 of Jefferson Davis County under a tornado warning. And we still have a tornado warning in effect for southern Lawrence and northern sections of Walthall County. So here's what's happening right now on that. That tornado warning is going to go until about 9:15. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is over the Robin Hood community of Lawrence County, very close to Monticello, and is moving eastward at 45 miles per hour. Moving eastward at 45 miles per hour. Silver Creek, Progress, and Arm are under the gun here in about 5 minutes. Prentice and Carson about 8:30, and Bassfield at around 8:35. So this is a radar indicated tornado warning, and it looks to me, at least, that this may be another cell that's popped up. That other cell, there you go. Because you've got two cells. We've got the one here near Robin Hood. You just had it on the screen right there on Highway 27. I'll step out of the way here, but that's where it is. Arms in front of it. This is just south of Monticello. So this is where that cell is. And if it's not the cell, right, it's the damaging wind. But if you go a little bit further out, take a look. There you go. Look at that right there by Highway 27 on the border. We've got some action right there. And then just south of the border, looks like we've got a pretty good area of wind over Sartonville. So this is an area that we're watching as well as it's moving off to the east. Again, everything's going about 45 miles per hour. At this rate, I feel most of this is going to be out of our area within the next hour or so or less. It's not something we're going to be dealing with all night. Do you want to mention the tornado watch has been canceled for some parts of southwestern Mississippi? You can see Wilkinson's been removed from that tornado watch, but we still have a tornado watch in effect for Smith, Simpson, Jefferson, Davis, Lawrence, Lincoln, as well as the Amite and Pike, Walthall, and Franklin counties all are under a tornado watch till 2 a.m. I do expect all the places I just mentioned to have that tornado watch canceled, but we got to get through the next hour or so with this intense squall line that is moving through the area. So McComb, you're in the clear now. Brookhaven, you're in the clear. But look what's going on now in Metro Jackson and up through the lower Delta. All of this rain is moving in, and this stretches for about 100 miles west of Jackson. That's how far this rain goes. It's not severe, but it's going to be rainy and windy, breezy, whatever you want to call it, overnight tonight for the next few hours at least. There's several lightning strikes that are taking place with this activity too. The atmosphere is pretty active, okay? So we're not surprised by that, but any kind of severe storms, no, we're not seeing them for Jackson. We're not seeing them for the metro area, but we are seeing some heavy rain farther south from Byram and over through about, let's just say Piney Woods and southward. That's where you get the heavy rain. And that's going to eventually spread, I think, into Smith County and southern Rankin County too. So that's the area to watch. We're going to go back further south now where the tornadoes are on the radar. And again, we've had one report of damage. Elise told us about it, that it was in parts of northeastern Amite County, reported a little while ago. But at this point, the new development is Jefferson Davis County. You have a tornado warning currently in effect until 9:30. That includes eastern sections of Lawrence County as well. And then we still have the tornado warning that goes until 9 p.m. for northeastern sections of Pike County and northern Walthall County, which really just skirts through the northern fringes of Tylertown. If you have a Tylertown address, which a lot of Walthall County does, you're still going to be looking at this tornado warning for your area. So Elise right now is scanning the debris tracker. We're just trying to find anything that really stands out as a debris ball. But you know, we're matching it up with the squall line, right? And it's hard to say, hey, is there a tornado debris ball in here, or is it just really the squall line?
Yeah, it still appears to be the squall line, but that's not to say that it's not spinning as it's moving through there either. But it's looking like maybe things are a little bit stronger actually to our south, so in parts of New Orleans. But we're going to continue to track this closely. So Monticello, you're not in the tornado warning, but you are still in the worst of the weather right now. That's pushing out of your area, but it's pushing into Prentiss. It's about to get to you in Carmike, in Darbin, and in Salem. I also want to point out here, Tylertown, you're not in a tornado warning, but you are about to see some significant rain and wind push into the area. So even though you're not necessarily in the core worst part of this storm, still going to be some nasty conditions for the next 20 minutes or so as that pushes into Tylertown. So don't be alarmed by that. You are in a severe thunderstorm. Actually, they've moved to the severe thunderstorm warning. I suppose they just let it expire and then they push it out to the east, but you were in a severe thunderstorm warning, and that's still going to be some pretty significant weather. This does fan up a little bit, the squall line that is kind of right along Highway 49 from Florence through Mendenhall and into McGee. You're also going to be dealing with some significant weather. It's not as impressive as what we have going on, as that kind of takes a turn and moves more to the south and east, but it's sort of fanning up, and we've got some pretty significant wind there as well. So first alert for you along Highway 49. And then we'll get back to your tornado warnings, which again include Prentiss. You're not in this in Monticello, but in Prentiss, you're about to see the worst of that weather. That's going to be near Progress Road, Highway 13. As we head further to the south, near Burnham Road and the Oakville area, Hathorne Road, Highway 13. And we'll actually put the radar scan back up for you as well. Society Hill, Carmike. I know these areas are not necessarily, well, Society Hill is in Jeff Davis, but Carmike, you're kind of right on the line. We've also got this tornado warning that extends out into counties that we don't necessarily cover, but it's moving to the east, and it is moving fast. It actually doesn't look as impressive near Prentiss now, which is good news for us, but the wind scans are still really something to look at. Just north of Carmike, near Oakville, I would say you're about to see some really significant wind, and that will likely cause some damage. We're actually getting closer to the radar site the further north we go, which means the further down in the atmosphere, closer to the surface, that actually is that you're looking at. So that is going to be significant here in these next 15 to 20 minutes.
I will say this, they have just dropped the tornado watch now for Lincoln and Franklin counties. So more cancellations currently coming in, which is good news. Brookhaven, you're no longer under a tornado watch. The same is true for you in Meadville and Roxy. You're no longer under a tornado watch. And eventually, like I said, this will go away before 2 a.m. It's in effect until 2 a.m. It's not going to be going that long. What I suspect happening with the squall line is that when you start getting further north, it's been developing an upper atmosphere, if you will. It's been stronger there. There's been a little bit of a kind of a low-level jet stream coming into this, and that's what's been feeding it. But at the surface, we got really pummeled about 5 p.m. today by some strong northerly winds, and that was coming out of Arkansas and the cooler air at the surface. So we can call this elevated. And why do I know this is elevated? Because we have a lot of lightning that is currently taking place in the Metro Jackson area. But at the surface, it's cooled off. It's in the 60s. We've got winds from the north. So we're going to see a bunch of rain. We're going to see a bunch of lightning and the wind. But as far as severe weather, I don't know if I'd really call that severe. You may think different if you have to be out in this weather, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's the stuff that's on the ground and aloft that's kind of matching up here in the Prentice area that we are concerned about. They have peeled back the tornado warning now. So in northern Walthall County, you no longer have a tornado warning if you're in Enon. That's good news. And Bristol Store, you've been taken out of the tornado warning along with JS. So that's good. You're still under a severe thunderstorm warning, but we're getting some progress here as all this weather keeps moving off to the east, with tornado warnings in effect for Jefferson, Davis, and eastern Lawrence counties until 9:30 and until 9 p.m. for Walthall County, unless they decide to cancel that early. And that seems to be the trend that's developing right now. This goes until 9:15. Tornado warning for Jefferson, Davis, Lawrence counties, about 8,000 people. This is a radar indicated tornado, a tornadic cell that's located currently moving into the western part of Jefferson, Davis County. Now it's getting closer to Prentice. So we want you to take cover in the Prentice area and be on the lookout for this weather. Again, what you should do, you can see the winds are very, very strong. Definitely get away from windows in this particular situation. All right, because flying debris could injure you. We've got the tornado safe place map here to show you. You always want to be in an interior room of your home, away from windows. A bathroom tends to be a good one. A lot of times folks do have interior bathrooms, and if you can get into the bathtub, if you've got a helmet for you or for the kids, that would be a good idea as well, just to err on the side of caution. Okay. And we want to get you through the storm. We want to get you through the storm safely. And we're continuing to monitor any reports of damage, which at least so far, we just had really that one report. I haven't seen much else.
Yeah, we've had more so reports of power outages at this point. Still getting several new outages now towards JS in Lawrence County. And I've got the power outages for the state updated here. It's now up to 28,000 customers. So still seeing a steady increase. And we've got 4,000 customers in Pike County without power, 3,600 in Lincoln County. So of course, following right behind that squall line as it pushed through, because again, even if there's not circulation, this wind damage is going to be equivalent to, if not greater than, a low-end tornado potentially. That's why they've carved these warnings for essentially along the squall line, and they're so expansive because it's really just covering the squall line, whether that is rotating or not, and whether that rotation makes it to the ground or not. Those damaging wind gusts certainly are, and that's why we've got so many power outages right now too. And
I just want to remind everyone too, again, if there's any disruption in your TV service, you're not able to watch us like you normally would, whether that's power related or not, we are streaming our coverage right now live through the free First Alert Weather app, the WLBT News app, WLBT.com, and the streaming apps that you have on your TV. So there's multiple ways to watch our coverage right now. And we just want to make sure that if you know of anybody that's in this area and they're saying, I can't find any information out, make sure you let them know that they still, even if you're in the dark and you're without power, you still can have access to the information. So the storm looks a little tamer in Walthall County at this point. I wouldn't let your guard down completely, but it does not look anything like what we were seeing here about a half hour ago. That's where these storms were really at their most intense point. But they can cycle, and that's the thing we have to be aware of. But as they're moving further east, it seems like they're running into a little bit less energy at this point in time. But still, we do have a tornado warning in effect for Jefferson, Davis County, including Prentice until 9:15. And it's also for eastern areas of Walthall County. This includes Tylertown and parts of Sartonville, and that goes until about 9 o'clock this evening. That may get canceled a little bit sooner, but you can see that's the area that we're watching right now. Radar indicated on both of these. So we have not had confirmed reports of tornadoes on the ground from any of them at this point in time, but we got to pay attention when you see these little nodes popping out. You can see here it kind of sticks out, and then a little bit further south near Salem and Tylertown, we've got this other one that's just west of Tylertown now that's going to go north of town. Something we just have to pay attention to. But the winds are fierce in this squall line as it moves through the area, and that's really been the main story. It didn't do much today in Louisiana. At least we saw one, maybe two tornado warnings, I think, as we were covering it in Louisiana. And then, as soon as it hit southern Mississippi, remember, it's tapping into a lot of the moisture and the instability that wasn't there in central Mississippi today because it got pushed out by the cooler air from the north. And we were saying this pretty much for the past couple of days. We've been saying this for about a week, talking about this weather, but we really thought there'd be a limited window, a very small window of opportunity to get severe weather. And that's why a tornado watch that was issued at 7 p.m. is pretty much gone now for about half of our area. So that's good news. The tornado warning has now been canceled for Lawrence County. You now have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, so that's good news. And the tornado warning is in effect for Prentiss, for Carson, and Bassfield, and it's still in effect for Sartonville and Tylertown. Let's show folks where the tornado watch is or where it isn't at this point in time. And you can see several more counties have been taken out. Lincoln, as well as Franklin and Wilkinson counties are no longer under a tornado watch. And I would assume, again, I'll say this again, I feel that any of the watches that are still in effect for our area, they're going to be out of here pretty much within the hour. I think they'll be canceled. Anything new that you're seeing over there?
No, I'm just seeing they're trimming these warnings, keeping a close eye on everything that's happening here. So here's what we've got for you. Of course, we have tornado watches with really noisy thunderstorms in the metro area. We can hear the thunder here at the station. Rain that's overspread nearly the entire area at this point. That is going to continue as we head into the next few hours. Even once we're done with the severe threat, it is still going to be raining and it is still going to be thundering and a little bit noisy. But this is where we're seeing the worst of the weather, which is as expected. We did say this if you joined us for that 6:30 stream on our digital desk, that it was looking like it was going to be closer to the Highway 84 corridor where we were going to see some of the worst of the weather, and that has proven true. But I want to give you a first alert on where things are clearing up at the moment. So in Oakville and in Carmike, you are no longer under any kind of tornado warning. Monticello, Robinwood, you're in the clear from the leading edge of that system. You're also clear in Dinan and Holmesville. And technically in part of Tylertown, you're not in a warning. Now, you're still seeing just now the leading edge of this kind of encroach into the Tylertown area. So you are dealing with some heavy rain and some gusty wind. And as you go further north in northern parts of Tylertown and along Highway 27, you're also going to be in and out of that heavy rain. Going further to the north in Salem, you're still in the warning. You need to stay in your safe place in Darbin. Same story. Headed up to the Hathorne area. And again, Oakville, you're not in this, but if you're in anywhere just east of Oakville, you are still under a tornado warning. So stay in that safe place. Park Fortenberry Road, if you live anywhere near there. Owen Cole Road, or call your friends or family that may be in that area. Burnham Road, headed up north along Highway 13. We're looking at Palestine Loop and JDTM Down Road. Continuing further to the north, I just want you to know where you need to stay in that safe place. In Prentiss, you're really in the thick of it right now. The leading edge has actually moved out. It's closer to Lone Star and McRaney. But the Carson area, you haven't seen it just yet. And same story in Bassfield. You have actually not gotten into the worst of this weather just yet. And we still have really impressive looking winds from these radar scans, pretty close to the actual radar site. So if this is making it to the ground, if there ends up being some ground truth, we are going to see some significant damage. Winds as high as 80 miles per hour, 90 miles per hour, nearly 100 miles per hour, potentially translating down to the ground. And that is going to cause damage. It's going to bring trees down, cause power outages in the works.
And Elise, you just showed us a little while ago, about maybe 20 minutes, half hour ago, was a 121 mile per hour wind gust measured there. I want to get you some reports here. Hunter Cloud reporting that trees are down in southeast Lincoln County. I'm monitoring social media right now on the WLBT Facebook page. We've got trees down in JS. That's coming from James Lambert. And Kim Walker Brister is in Tilton reporting that the winds are starting to die down. So these are areas that were heavily impacted by the storms. Someone just said they're not going to assess it until the morning. I may not blame you necessarily in that situation. Yeah. But lots of lightning being reported in this area and a lot of wind with the storms. Again, the lightning has really picked up. It wasn't that pronounced about an hour ago, but then this kind of just ramped up. And if you're in Simpson County, wow, you're in for a show when it comes to the lightning. Fortunately, you won't be dealing with much else about that. But we're just monitoring what's going on with this weather situation. There is a squall line here, and what's happening is it's on the ground basically, and it's in the atmosphere this far south because it's still in that warmer zone. You get a little bit further north and it gets elevated. And the reason I say it gets elevated is because the colder air is coming underneath it. It's kind of like kicking your shoes out or kicking your feet out from under you. So you're in the sky, so to speak. You're kind of in the air, but you're not really having much of an impact on the ground. So you're going to see a lot of lightning and you're going to see some gusty winds, but we're seeing that anyway. That has, very little to do with the squall line. In fact, we've been getting gusty winds all across the area. Most impressive was that what we call an outflow boundary, the wake created by thunderstorms somewhere else. And they just kind of raced into central Mississippi at about 5 p.m. today. A lot of folks were driving in it. Felt that wind, felt that rain coming down, but fortunately, we don't have any kind of tornadoes or anything like that. Seeing some heavy rain in Braxton from Chris Allen. Let's see, Brentley Sides is in Walthall County right now. It's calming down in Sartonville, getting a report in from Sartonville. Let me just make sure I have this report here. Let's see here. Dana Curtis says the weather's getting better in the Brister Store Road area. Calming down currently in Salem from Christina Marie King. And there's very heavy wind currently in Jefferson Davis around the White Sand area. That's from Charlie and Jessica Dale. So getting that report in as well. Sartonville, that would be from, sorry about that, Keedy B is reporting that. So at this point, we're not getting a lot of damage reports, and this is good news. A lot of folks are saying, hey, we had a lot of wind, we had a lot of this, a lot of that, but at least we're not getting the serious reports. We're going to continue to watch these storms. We're not going off the air until the tornado warnings are canceled or they expire for our viewing area, because these storms, until we know they're clear out of our area, we're not going to let our guard down, because it's one of those situations where it can come back to bite you. The storm cycle. They don't stay at the same intensity the whole time. So you can have them lift up in the atmosphere for a few minutes and they come right back down onto the ground, or they can just change in intensity. They're still following a similar path, but again, the atmosphere around them is changing. So you got to remember that not everything is staying the same. And so you could get a spin up, or you could get another tornado developing out of this. And that's why we're just going to stay on the air for you till 9:15 for southern Jefferson Davis County. You have a tornado warning in effect for Carson, Bassfield, as well as Prentiss. And then for the eastern part of Walthall County until about 9 o'clock. We also have good news to report for you in Monticello. The worst of the weather has passed you. You are no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning. I do want to say, look at this pretty intense cell that's near Osika in southern Pike County. You're getting some heavy rain and wind. So I don't see any way that Tylertown misses the weather. You may not get a tornado, but you're going to get some very heavy rain and some wind here within the next 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. And that's really all that they're saying. They are going to continue this tornado warning out of Walthall County. So if you happen to be watching from Marion County, then they have continued that into your area. Just now, actually, that tornado warning that's just north of Tylertown is likely going to fizzle out here shortly. They may just allow it to expire, since you're still dealing with a little bit of that leading edge that's headed toward Knoxo and actually getting into Tylertown. But you're mostly just looking at heavy rain. So we have a new tornado. Yeah,
they just extended, like you said, the tornado warning a little bit. So that makes sense. They're now going into the southern part. If you see it there, they're basically
they've canceled it now for Walthall County. So some good news.
So I think they're jumping the line there. Is what they're doing, and just putting it into Marion County. So good news for Walthall County. You no longer have a tornado warning in effect. I will tell you though, if you're in Tylertown, all right, you've got a bad storm that is coming to your town here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So don't venture outside to assess anything right now. Hang out for a little bit. let the weather die down. I am monitoring things on social media. Got a lot of reports of trees down in the JS area and Sartonville, but doesn't seem to be anything more than that. I just heard someone from Fair River check in. They said the weather was pretty bad earlier, but things are improving. But right now we do have a tornado warning in effect for southern Jefferson, Davis counties. Good news, Lincoln, Pike counties, the severe thunderstorm warnings are canceled for you. Lawrence County, you have a severe thunderstorm warning really for the eastern part of the county. That's really close to Silver Creek. And then Walthall County, no warnings at all right now. So that's good, but you still have heavy rain and some wind moving on through. This is going to continue moving eastward. It will be in the Hattiesburg Pine Belt area before long. It's going to cross Highway 49 around Collins in about the next half hour or so. But this storm is a very strong storm. We're showing you right now, this is the wind field. It shows you the inflow and outflow. You can see the wind is blowing in a certain direction here in the green around Bassfield, but you cross into this area and that's where the winds are turned up completely and there's twist in the atmosphere. This is where we have the tornado warning in effect. This goes till 9:15 and Elise is right now measuring. She's sampling the winds there. I'm checking in with social media to see if anybody's reporting any other
Yeah, we've got another
damage.
116 there.
Whoa.
And this is just about to move into Bassfield. So
Yeah.
you do need to be in that safe place. You've had some time. This is moving relatively quickly. So get in your safe place and stay there. And let me just give you some clearer roads. If you're in Carson, if you're along Old Highway 42, along Highway 35, just outside of Bassfield, you need to get in that safe place. Same story as we go further to the south. Williamsburg Road, Bassfield Cemetery Road, Graves Keys Road, near Cantwell Mill. Get in your safe place and stay there because, again, even if there's not rotation here, these winds will cause damage, even if they are just straight line coming through the area, which it does appear that there is some rotation, but really it's relatively calm conditions. And then these significant winds on the other side that are pushing into the area.
That's a big contrast, Elise, don't you think? And
yes.
I don't know if you could sample just south here. You'll get a little bit closer into Bassfield, maybe just to the southwest of Bassfield. I'm curious to see what's happening with that storm. Bass Burkett Road, Candy Lane, Queens Creek Road, and there you go, 87 mile per hour wind gusts, 95 mile per hour winds being sampled there. Now, when you see a minus, what Elise is doing there, that's saying that the wind is basically going away from the radar. Okay, and it's kind of incoming. I may have this backwards. I'm sorry, but you get the idea. We've got winds blowing in opposite directions, and now they just updated the scans right there on your screen. This is coming into Bassfield, almost 90 mile per hour winds coming into Bassfield right now with this storm. So this is crossing Highway 35 in Bassfield, and eventually this is going to move more to the east and southeast, and you'll see it in Carson, and you'll see it in you'll see it more so in the southeastern part of the county here before long. But Prentice is up here on the northern edge of your screen. You're already kind of on the back side of it, but you're still getting very gusty winds and you're still getting some heavy rain. But this is the front side of the storm here where Bassfield is and Cantwell Mill. And this is a very dangerous part of the storm because you can see it's sticking out here. That could also be from some bowing, if you will, which we get that where the winds are just blowing out in front of the storm. But this is also the area where a spin up is possible. And that's why we have a radar indicated tornado in this area that's crossing Highway 35 and 42. And it's moving toward Collins. So it's going to be moving towards Covington County. If you know some folks in that area, let them know what's going on if they're not paying attention to the weather. I think a lot of people are paying attention to the weather, though, today, Elise.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just us.
Yeah, I think so, too. I do want to point out here just south of our area. So if you have friends that live just across the Mississippi border in Louisiana, they actually have a radar confirmed tornado just outside of Kentwood that's also tracking to the south and east. We won't spend too much time on that because it's not necessarily impacting you, but it's coming out of still this same squall line that stretches up just past Progress and into Tylertown right now. So you're still seeing really significant weather, even if you're not in any kind of warning. This is bowing out very significantly from McGee down into Collins, through Bassfield, and then back into Columbia. They're about to get into the worst of the weather as well. So Bassfield, you're starting to get on the other side, getting past this, and you're now really in the thick of those winds continuing, but that's pushing out, and it is actually looks like it's sticking out a little bit more now, but into
Yeah.
Cantwell Mill along Highway 42, headed down toward Morris. Get in that safe place and stay there. We've still got a little bit of time on this, so let's just put a little track for this eastern half of Jeff Davis County and see how much longer you're gonna have to deal with this. There's not really much to see as far as towns there, but if in Cantwell Mill, of course, just here in the next few minutes, 851 near Dean and 854 near Melba. And this tornado warning does go until 9:15. At that point, it should be clear of Jeff Davis County and off into East Mississippi.
So I'm just getting a report here. This is coming to you. Let me see here. It's going so fast on my screen. We had a report of on Dinan Road. We had some trees down measured in that area. Let me just see if I can find it here. Yeah, on Dinan Salem Road, trees are down. That from Jamie O'Brien reporting that. Bassfield right now getting the worst of it. It's already pushed over Carson, but it's right now over you. So you're getting very heavy rain in Carson and wind. And then you've got Prentice here, which is almost on the western side of the storm now. And you can see it continues to advance eastward. And this should be in Covington County here within the next 20 minutes or so. Let's show the rest of the area. Kind of give folks a reset so they know exactly what's going on, because a lot of folks are asking. I'm just monitoring social media. They're saying, well, is it coming up here? Is it coming here? This is the only area that we're concerned with right now for tornadoes. Jefferson, Davis County, that's pretty much it. Anything else would be rogue. So we'll monitor what happens in southern Smith County. But right now, the main player, if you will, is right there in Jefferson, Davis County, moving into Covington County. Look at all this. It's a wall of rain that extends from Jackson back to Monroe. 80 plus miles of just rain. And that's what we're going to have for the next few hours across all of central and southwest Mississippi. So that's what we're going to have. And we're going to have wind to go along with it. And even when the rain ends this evening, it's still going to be windy overnight. And temperatures are going to keep dropping. It's going to be chilly in the morning in the 40s. And even with the sun that we do see tomorrow, temperatures are going to struggle to get into the 60s. We may not get into the 60s in some places. So this is where we have warnings right now. Severe thunderstorm warning for Jefferson, Davis County. Prentice, you are no longer under a tornado warning. That is the new update. But Bassfield, you're still under a tornado warning in this area. Carson, you're no longer under a tornado warning either. But the southeastern part of Jefferson, Davis County, a tornado warning continues until 9:15. This includes the Melba community as well as Bassfield. So you can see right in this area here, this is Williamsburg Road, Crossroads Church Road. We've got the community of Dean and really Gates Road. And there's Melba all the way on the farthest southern reaches of the county on Highway 42. That is where a tornado warning continues. But the rest of the area, things are improving dramatically out there. I've been checking social media, haven't seen a ton of reports of damage. Of course, there could be many places that have had damage where there's no power. So that's being problematic in reporting it. But I'm just letting you know what I'm seeing here and the reports that I am getting. And certainly that's good news. The other thing I want to point out is the tornado watch that was going until 2 o'clock in the morning. So that's also been lifted for many counties now. And I would suspect that give it about another few minutes and you'll see the rest of these counties get cleaned up off the board, and we'll have the tornado watch expire or at least get canceled for central Mississippi a little bit earlier than that. It's not going to go until 2 o'clock in the morning, but we've been on the air now for a little bit more than an hour. I don't know. Time seems to fly by when we're doing this, right, Elise? And so far, it looks like the worst of it's in the southeast and the rest of it just some rain and wind. And this is kind of played out the way we thought it was going to, with just a minimal tornado threat. We were talking about this, and really the most important, really the most widespread feature that we get out of this weather would be the wind. And I think everybody's been talking about the wind today and certainly the heavy rain, but this is much needed rainfall anyway. So we're not seeing any flash flooding at this point. That's the other good thing to tell you. We haven't had many reports of that, but I will tell you the rain has been coming down very hard in many spots, but it's been so dry lately that the ground can probably absorb it. Probably not much more, but it can absorb it. And we don't have a lot of rain chances in the forecast. In fact, we have a slight chance for showers and maybe a thunderstorm later Sunday. And that's when an even colder air mass comes back in. Winter's not dead, folks. It goes for another 8 days. Make that 9 days. Sorry, my math's off. 9 days. It goes until next Friday. Yeah. And that's when spring begins. I had to do some quick math in my head, but thank you. And that's when spring actually begins. But it's still technically winter. So we're going to have some pretty nice weather, I'd say, after tonight. with the exception of maybe Sunday night. And if you're a fan of cooler weather, I think you're going to love tomorrow's weather, and you're really going to love Monday's weather. At least is probably more excited about that than anyone. But temperatures Monday are going to be only in the 50s for highs, but we could be near freezing Tuesday morning. A far cry from the kind of weather we're seeing right now, which is bringing much needed rain to our area. We were 87 degrees in Jackson this afternoon. Wasn't a record, but it certainly was warm out there, that's for sure. And right now, the worst of the weather is pressed into the extreme southeastern portion of Jefferson Davis County. And it looks like probably the worst of that weather's just about out of the county completely.
Yeah, it appears that that's just about the case. But this far southeast portion of Jeff Davis County, we're still seeing measuring winds potentially as high as 100 miles per hour. So again, we are going to see some damage from this. 123 miles per hour showing up there. That's just south of Cantwell Mill. That's near Melba. And same story, just a little bit further back. So even though it's not the leading edge, still looking at really significant wind gusts associated with this system. But that is just about to push out of Jeff Davis County. Now, we're still reading some pretty decent wind throughout other parts of the area, but we were expecting to see that. So we are expecting winds to gust as high as 40 miles per hour at minimum in some places through the next few hours. And that could even continue into early tomorrow morning behind this cold front as that cooler air settles in. It's very short-lived cool air at this point. I do think tomorrow's going to be a nice day. I think you said that earlier, Dave, but
it's okay. You can say it 2 or 3 times at this point. I think people want to hear it.
It's going to be windy though. So even though we won't see gusts like this, we won't see gusts as high as 40 miles per hour. I do expect that we're going to see gusts between 25 and 30 miles per hour all day, and that might have it feeling a little chilly with temperatures only in the 60s. But we just got to get through this last little bit of weather, and that looks like this right now for you. Some heavy rain in Bassfield. It's heavier in Dean. You're about to see it in Morris and Melba, and then that's it. That's the leading edge. It's pushing off into East Mississippi, and we won't be dealing with it for much longer. So here's what the warnings are looking like. Of course, they're so close. It's hard to tell, but we've still got severe thunderstorm warnings for the rest of Jeff Davis County. Just a little heads up for you there, as the severe thunderstorm warning for that eastern portion of Lawrence County as well, where you're still also dealing potentially with some significant wind. But each scan, this is getting further and further out of the picture for us. And I do want to say, Prentice, you're in the clear. Headed down towards Society Hill, you're in the clear now. Bristol Store, Monticello, areas that we were looking at earlier for some significant, potentially wind damage, you are looking like things are clearing up nicely.
And the lightning, I think, is coming down too. It's not nearly as strong as it was, at least in central Mississippi. We had quite a bit of lightning over Jackson a little while ago, but now a lot of lightning with this front side of the storm that is pushing eastward. So I mentioned to you about a half hour ago, I felt Simpson County would be seeing a lot of lightning. It shows that we're getting a lot of lightning for you right now. It's pushing into Smith County as well. Rankin County, that's the story too. And then we still have a lot of lightning with that storm that's in Pike and Walthall counties. But the tornadic threat is really decreasing rapidly right now. And that's the most important thing. We told you we weren't going to be looking at an overnight type of weather situation or a severe weather outbreak during the overnight hours. So we're grateful for that. Things are kind of sticking to the schedule, and we're probably going to have rain here for another couple of hours. Probably by midnight, a lot of this rain will be gone at this point in time. But the tornado warning goes until 9:15. Then that is a serious wind gust that you just got there, Elise. 152, 143 mile per hour wind gusts. And I think we're elevated a little bit on the radar beam, but still
just a little though at this point. So in Melba, you need to stay in that safe place. And if you happen to be watching from just outside of Jefferson Davis County in Higgins or Hickory Grove, Epley, Sumrall, make sure you're in that safe place. You do have a little bit of time to get there. It's right over you in Melba, but stay in that place for the next little bit.
Yeah, a dangerous situation nonetheless. It's just amazing when you can hit that a couple times, you still get the same kind of winds out of it. So it's not something we see very often here. That's for sure. Yeah. So unbelievable.
So that's what they're watching at the National Weather Service office. That's what they've been mentioning in the chat. These circulations that have been near Bassfield, now just to the north and the east of Bassfield, but also to the south and east of Bassfield. That may not necessarily be rotation. It is certainly very strong wind, though. So we've just got a little bit of time left on this, a little bit of stormy weather left for central Mississippi before things clear out. We're not able to get any kind of good debris signature. We haven't been really all evening from this system, but that's not to say that there's not damage or not anything going on.
Right. And that's the thing. I've had a lot of reports on social media that I've been checking. A lot of people reporting power outages, trees down. That's what we've been getting. But fortunately, I've had no reports of anybody saying there's been injuries, there's been major damage or structural damage. So this is all very good news. Let's hope that it continues to remain good news. Tornado warning in effect for southeastern Jefferson Davis County until 9:15. We're getting down to the wire here. That's probably going to get canceled sooner than later. But again, a very powerful storm that is currently near the Melba community and Highway 42. And all of this is now moving into Covington County. So I really feel for folks that are traveling US 49 this time of night. They're going to be encountering some very strong crosswinds. And you may remember this. We had this a couple years ago. We had a squall line like this go across, and it knocked over some trucks and caused a lot of problems in the Collins area. Let's hope we don't get a repeat performance of that. But right now, the worst of the weather is still over Bassfield and off to the east. You're getting very heavy rain falling in Bassfield. The weather's not nearly as bad in Tylertown anymore, although everybody's getting the heavy rain now. It's a lighter rain in McComb. It's a lighter rain in Brookhaven and Monticello, but still some heavy rain in Tylertown, some heavy rain currently in Bassfield. And those are our two holdouts. And we still have the tornado warning that is in effect for the southeastern portion of Jefferson Davis County. Much of the Pine Belt now, as you can see, covered with tornado warnings in advance of the system. And, you know, this is something I've seen before where tornado warnings get issued, even though it's more about the wind threat. It's the catastrophic wind threat that could come with some of these storms. And when it's hard to determine what's the difference between a tornado and winds like this when they're creating the same amount of damage. So that's why they issue sometimes these tornado warnings to get people's attention. But you can still see around Melba, that is still a well-defined cell there with some very strong winds.
And it actually looked like it just picked back up in this latest scan.
Like it's cycling, or that could be actually a newer cell. But bottom line is it's cycling in here. And looks like you got confirmation on that at least, because we're seeing it in a couple different viewpoints there. I don't know if you want to tap it with the wind measurer, but just kind of see what we got here. But this is definitely standing out. 91 mile per hour wind gusts. You know, very strong winds. It's enough to cause some damage. You have 0 damage. And so this storm is going to be moving out of the county very soon, probably in the next 5-10 minutes. Everything's moving in this area at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. So they're fast movers, that's for sure. The rest of the area, though, is pretty quiet. As far as the severe weather goes, it's all quieted down. Even Prentice now, you no longer have a severe thunderstorm warning, but we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for the eastern part of the county. So at this point, you can see heavy rain or moderate to heavy rain in yellow. That is not going to be a severe thunderstorm or anything like that. It's just moderate to heavy rain with a breezy condition going on, lots of wind, and that will be sweeping across the area. And then the Pine Belt still remains under the gun. Looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for southern Walthall County. That includes Tylertown. So let me see here. Has it populated? Yeah, there it is. This goes till Walthall County until 10 p.m. A severe thunderstorm warning is currently in effect. A line of severe thunderstorms extending from the Dexter community in Walthall County. And this is moving east at 35 miles per hour. It is the potential for 70 mile per hour wind gusts in this storm. So there you go. Right now, Tylertown, you're back under a severe thunderstorm warning at this point in time. So that's the story with you. Just be aware of that. I don't think it's going to last very long because it looks like it's all pushing out very quickly. So these are the warnings that we have on the screen here. This is the tornado warning that's for Jefferson Davis, and then much of the Pine Belt is covered by tornado warnings at this point. Let's go back to radar. Just show folks what's going on with the latest on the radar scans. You can see Tylertown's really in that heavy rain right now, but that storm's going to be off to your east within the next 5-10 minutes. So it won't last all that long, but you're still going to have some rain for a while. Again, as I mentioned, I feel like we've got about 2 or 3 more hours of rain to go in central Mississippi. So it's going to be a good soaking that we all get tonight from this weather. And I'm sure it's welcome in a lot of circles because a lot of folks needed to see it. The drought report comes out tomorrow, but it's based on yesterday's data. So
yeah, but that should still be an improvement because
Yeah.
we had nearly 2 inches across most of the area this past weekend. So that at least helped some. And then whatever we get tonight can attack on top of that for the drought monitor that we get out this coming Thursday, not tomorrow, but the next Thursday.
Right.
And that should all be looking a little bit better. We even have another chance at some showers. It's not looking like it's going to be stormy or severe weather, but some showers this coming Sunday evening into the overnight and early Monday morning. That's really just coming with a bigger cool down that is going to have things pretty cold for the start of next week. And keep in mind too that this system that we're tracking right now on your first alert radar is also cooling us down for your Thursday. So tomorrow is going to be chilly and breezy. Temperatures will be in the 40s when we head out the door, and they will only make it to hopefully the low 60s. It will be sunny at least, but winds gusting as high as 30 miles per hour behind this system. And through the rest of the overnight hours, we could see winds gust as high as 40 miles per hour right behind this system. So it's still going to be unsettled for the next 24 hours. It's just not going to be stormy weather.
And Magnolia Electric Power just sending this update out. They have 12,000 meters that are currently without power. Mainly, of course, they serve much of Pike and parts of Walthall counties here. So there's 12,000 meters that are currently without power. They do have linemen responding to calls tonight, but they will have more linemen reporting to the office at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning for power restoration efforts. So, they're going to have reinforcements too, and they have contractors that are going to be helping out with their efforts. So this is just coming off their update that they just sent out, 12,000 meters without power. Again, they say they do have linemen are responding to calls tonight. They have several roads that are blocked by trees. So keep that in mind. They're probably going to do the best they can with what they've got. And then tomorrow, they said storm leaders have already begun calling in reinforcements, and they will be working starting at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning for power restoration efforts.
We've also got right now 34,000 customers without power in that same corridor that we've been tracking, and it looks like Lawrence County, over 2/3, 70% of the county that's tracked are without power right now. So hopefully they've also got some people on the way out there.
Now, if you want to know what's going on tonight and you're without power, remember you can watch our newscast live, WLBT.com, on your streaming apps. Of course, on your phone, we're talking about, or your tablets, whatever you can get access to the internet on. But you can still watch our newscast on WLBT, the 10 p.m. news. It will be on there. And then, of course, you can continue watching our tornado coverage through our apps. As long as there's a tornado warning in effect, we do stream our coverage to make sure you get the latest weather information. So if you have power or not, you still have access to information that you need. We are still looking at a lot of red here over the southeastern part of Jefferson, Davis County. Heavy rain continues to come down from this storm. A tornado warning remains in effect until 9:15, another 10 minutes. And Prentice is no longer under any warnings, which is really some good news. We do have a tornado watch that is in effect for a large portion of Mississippi. Our portion will be canceled, I think, relatively soon. So that's good news. We'll be seeing most of these counties taken off the board, and we are not expecting any additional severe weather after what we're dealing with right now. So tonight, the weather should really be quieting down across our area, except for the fact that we're just going to have a steady rain, a much needed rain coming across the area. And I just realized I parked about as far in the parking lot from the building as I could have.
Well,
oh well. That's my life,
I did
right?
too.
Oh, that's right.
I did, in fact, leave my umbrella in the car.
Oh, well.
I thought about it as I was parking. I should bring my umbrella in.
Well, do what I do. Leave it at your house. That way you know where it is.
Exactly.
So you can see tornado warning in effect for the southeastern part of Jefferson, Davis County. We've got about 9 minutes left on this.
They have expired it, so we just got to wait for it to go off the board. But I just got the notification here that they're expiring that morning. All
right, let's go back and reset real quick. Let folks know what's going on across the area. We'll show the regional picture here with the rain and the radar. We still have heavy rain in Smith County. So if you're in Raleigh, you're in Mize, you're in Taylorsville, you're going to get some heavy rain, okay? That's going to continue moving on through. And the outside chance that another tornado warning gets issued, we'll go right back on the air and tell you about it. So don't worry about that. We're going to keep watching that. The rest of the area is dealing with rain right now. And it's going to be a steady rain because this rain goes all the way back to Monroe, Louisiana. So that's 80 miles from Jackson just about. We've got about 3 hours of rain to go. 2-3 hours of rain across most of the area, and it's going to be breezy for the night. So the tornadic threat is dropping down again. If there is another tornado warning issued, we will tell you about it right away. We'll be back on the air. Until then, we're going to have our newscast on WLBT News at 10. In just a little while, we'll have a comprehensive report as to what's going on as far as damage reports and anything like that. But the good news is the weather situation is gradually improving across the area, and we're going to get you back to regularly scheduled programming. So for meteorologist Elise Ushman, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dave Roberts, First Alert Weather.
This has been a First Alert Weather Update. We now return you to our regularly scheduled programming.